Sherman Firefly, the British tank that terrified Nazi Panthers and Tigers. The battlefields of World War II saw some of the most iconic and formidable tanks in military history. Among these, the German Tiger and Panther tanks were renowned for their thick armor and devastating firepower. The introduction of the Tiger I in 1942 sent shockwaves through the Allied forces, which soon realized they needed a countermeasure against these behemoths. The British Army recognized the urgency of developing new vehicles capable of standing up to these German giants, initially promising contenders like the cruiser Mark 8 the Challenger A-30 and cruiser Mark 8 Cromwell A-27M were designed, but these vehicles faced delays and technical challenges. This prompted the British government to adopt a more pragmatic approach, modifying an existing tank, the American Sherman. The result was the Sherman Firefly, armed with the powerful 17-pounder gun, which could engage German tanks from over 900 meters away, offering a much-needed solution to combat the formidable German armor. Development of the Sherman Firefly. The standard Sherman tank, equipped with a 75mm M3 gun, often struggled to penetrate the thick armor of the German Panther and Tiger tanks. The British responded by mounting the Ordnance quick-firing 17-pounder, a powerful 76.2 mm anti-tank gun, onto the Sherman. This was no ordinary gun. At the time, it was the most powerful British tank gun of the war and even surpassed the penetration power of the infamous German 88mm gun found on the Tiger I. The 17-pounder used advanced armor-piercing discarding Sabot APDS ammunition that could penetrate almost any German armor on the battlefield. Although it was originally intended as a temporary solution until new British tanks were ready, the Firefly became the most common Allied tank equipped with this formidable gun. It remained the best tank weapon available to the Allies until the introduction of the American 90mm M26 Pershing in early 1945. Modifications to the Sherman tank. Fitting the 17-pounder onto the Sherman required significant modifications. The Sherman's turret had to be redesigned to accommodate the large gun. The radio system, previously housed inside the turret, was moved to an armored box outside the turret. The breech block of the 17-pounder had to be rotated 90 degrees and mounted sideways to allow easier loading of the large rounds. This change resulted in a reduction of the crew from 5 to 4. The recoil system of the gun also needed modification, and the tank's gun cradle was shortened to fit the larger gun. Additionally, the barrel and gun mantlet were redesigned to properly protect the turret. Inside the tank, the turret was almost completely emptied to allow for the gun's recoil, and a counterweight was added to the rear to balance the long barrel. Battlefield effectiveness. The Firefly's 17-pounder gun was incredibly effective at penetrating the armor of German Panther and Tiger tanks. With its long range and powerful ammunition, the Firefly finally gave the Allies a weapon capable of engaging German heavy tanks at distances exceeding 1,000 meters. The tank's armor-piercing capabilities allowed it to knock out Panthers, Tigers, and other German tanks, which made it a crucial asset in tank battles during the war. However, the APDS ammunition came with trade-offs. While it significantly increased the gun's penetration power, it also reduced accuracy. Despite this, the Firefly's ability to penetrate the thick armor of German tanks from a distance made it a feared adversary on the battlefield. Firefly crews quickly realized that the distinctive long barrel of their tank made them easy targets for German tank and anti-tank gun crews. As a result, Firefly crews adopted camouflage tactics, such as painting part of the gun barrel to create the illusion of a shorter gun. Additionally, Firefly tanks were often positioned in overwatch roles, providing cover for standard Shermans advancing on the battlefield. Tank encounters in Normandy. The Firefly saw significant action during the Normandy campaign. The Allies faced a surprising number of German Panther tanks in this battle, which had been misclassified as rare heavy tanks. The large number of Panthers on the battlefield came as a shock to Allied forces, who initially expected to engage lighter German tanks, like the Panzer IV. During the Normandy campaign, Firefly tanks were deployed in key battles, including the defense of Nore-en-Bessin on June 9, 1944. In one notable engagement, Lieutenant G.K. Henry's Firefly knocked out 5 Panthers with just 6 rounds, halting a German assault by the 12th SS Panzer Division. Similarly, Sergeant Harris of the 7th Dragoon Guards used his Firefly to destroy 5 advancing Panthers with 5 rounds during Operation Perch on June 14, 1944. A deadly force against the Tigers. The Firefly also proved effective against the feared German Tiger tanks. In the Battle of Villers-Bocage, Fireflies from the City of London Yeomanry knocked out 2 Tigers. The Firefly also played a role in the demise of famed German tank commander Michael Wittmann. On August 8, 1944, a Firefly is believed to have been responsible for the fatal shot that destroyed Wittmann's Tiger during an ambush near Saint-Thiold, France. Despite being a priority target for German forces, Firefly tanks had a lower chance of being knocked out compared to standard Shermans. This was largely due to their tactical deployment in overwatch roles, where they could engage enemy tanks from concealed positions. However, when Fireflies had to engage in open combat, their long barrels made them vulnerable to enemy fire. The Sherman Firefly earned a mixed reputation among its crews. While it was an incredibly effective tank killer due to its 17-pounder gun, the modifications required to fit the gun onto the Sherman reduced the tank's overall comfort and reliability. Despite these drawbacks, the Firefly provided the Allies with a much-needed weapon capable of taking on the most formidable German tanks of World War II. The presence of the Firefly on the battlefield boosted troop morale and gave the Allies a fighting chance against the feared Tigers and Panthers. In the end, the Firefly's contribution to the Allied victory was significant, proving that with the right weaponry and tactics, even the most powerful German tanks could be defeated.